And our first story, a group calling itself Concerned Citizens of Ochimang has this morning been embarking on a demonstration to protest what they describe as an endorsement of ethnocentric comments by the NDC's flag bearer, John Dramani Mahama. The former president has been criticized by leading members of government for sharing a social media post which allegedly described people of Achim as Sakawa. The protesters, made up of natives from the three Achim states, Ebuakwa, Busome and Kotoku, were seen at the Asaman Kese Community Center clad in red attires with placards bearing inscriptions such as NDC and Mahama, where are your policies? No more NDC tribalism, politics of insults. Convener of the group, Archibald Inturi Aqua, says they will continue to mount pressure on John Mahama to retract and apologize.
This tribal bigotry comments ought to stop someday, sometime. We cannot let this thing continue. Once upon a time, we were Achim Mafia. Some time ago, Shebi was described as the headquarters of Galamsey. Kwame the Sanchi Regional NDC Secretary, once said that the Ochihine himself and his people share the same water with animals. This thing cannot continue. So all that we are saying is that the various figures in government belong to a political party. They have their individual names. If there's a policy or a program the government intends to roll out that you disagree, criticize the policy, individuate the argument, situate your argument properly. But to take a name registered to a people, a name registered to a kingdom, and to attach it to such an awful character like Sakawa, that is what we are saying. It is unacceptable, it is improper, it is scandalous, it is slanderous, it is something that as Achim for, we cannot let it go. So all that we are asking is that Your Excellency, it was in bad taste, retract that statement and apologize to Nananum, apologize to Achim for, apologize to Ghana for, so that we move forward. That is all that we are saying. There are a series of activities that we intend.
Eastern Regional Correspondent Maxwell Kodeko is with the protesters and joins us with some details. Maxwell, where are these protesters now?
The protesters are currently at the forecourt of the Samankese Chief's Palace. That is where they all congregated after the protest. They walked through the principal street of Asamankese with quite a huge number of crowds. Over almost about 10,000 participants or protesters participated in this protest. They just finished with the address. Convener of the protest addressed the mammoth crowd here, and then the address just ended just a couple of minutes ago.
Maxwell, what are some of the issues they brought up in their address, and did they outline a next line of action?
Well, they chronicled some statements made by leading members of the NDC to the effect that of certain statements that seems to ridicule the people of Achim. They recounted statements made by former NDC regional chairman, NDC Asante regional secretary, Mr. Sandogbe, and a host of leading members of the NDC. And they are saying that what seems to help them most is that not mean a person than the leading member or the leader of the NDC also joining this fray of ethnocentric, or as it were, ridiculous statement that sought to portray the Achim in a certain light. So they have said that it seems to be a deliberate attempt by the NDC to ridicule the Achim tribe. They have given the NDC and for that matter, former President John Mahama 72 days. 2 days ultimatum to withdraw the statement and apologize to the people of Ochimang. And the chiefs and people of Ochimang, comprising of Buakwa, Busome, and Kotoku, will advise themselves accordingly. Advise themselves to do what? The options, as of now, is not too clear. But initially, the convener actually said that they are going to protest in every major town of Achim within the three Achim Buakwa states. If the former president, do not withdraw the statement and apologize to Ochimang. So that is the immediate action that they want to do if the president do not retract and apologize his comment. But the chief who led the people, the Amante Miensa leader, said that they cannot specifically say what they will do as an alternative plan in public.
Okay.
But all you can say is that Ochimano advice itself.
Maxwell, thank you very much. Let's move to another part of the country, and the Northeast Regional Minister is on an inspection tour to the affected communities in the floods caused by the spillage of the Bagri Dam and the continuous downpour. 10 people, farms and homes have been lost to the floods. Roads have also been cut off, making it difficult to reach affected persons. This morning, Northeast Regional Minister, with the help of a chopper, has arrived in parts of the region to get first-hand information on the extent of damage. He spoke with my colleague, Elias Otanko.
This morning we are on the way to Mampugu Moduri district, that's it, Yaraba Kubori constituency, where there has been very extensive flood that unfortunately has led to the death of 1 or 2 people. As I speak to you, in a little we will be able to put up some relief items that we want to go and make it available to those who are hard hit. So when we get there, thank God that we're all going together to learn at first and what is there, and then we can speak to the nation on whatever has happened in Kukwa, which Kukwa is one of the communities that has been hard hit. So we're moving straight to that community to really see what is happening. Then we can speak to the nation on the issues over there.
Now, 4 lives have already been lost, acres of farmlands destroyed, and the Boko areas have been cut off from Bolgatanga because of the flooded road. But more than an hour of downpour this morning is threatening life and property even more than before. Some stranded passengers and other victims have been sharing their experiences.
My name is Atanga Vida. That was on Saturday around 4:30 to 5. We are sleeping in the night, midnight, when my mother just came out to urinate and she saw the water. So when she shouted, "Water, water," before we came out, water already entered our house. So to carry our things, our dresses, our mattresses, even our food self, the water took all away. We don't even have something to eat. We don't have a place to stay. We don't have food to eat, our clothes, our mattresses. So we are appealing the government to come to our aid and help us so that we get a place to stay. This woman like this, that day she was sleeping. Before she wake up, water already entered the compound. So all the buildings have collapsed. So we took her to this place so that we can manage, so that you people will help us, support us with anything.
So where were you before the water came and flooded your place?
We are sleeping.
Which community?
Anatim.
Okay. Is it far from here?
No, this community is Anatim.
Is your house far from this place?
No. It's this woman here, our house here. It's not far.
So tell us, this facility that you are building, who owns this place?
The Nadmore people arrange with it's a filling station, and the Nadmore people arrange with the person so that we can come and stay.
So how do you cope up with the mosquitoes?
Oh, it's not easy. It's not easy. Mosquitoes. In the night, we can't even sleep.
So right now, what do you think you actually need right now to make you feel comfortable? You want to look for a place for you to stay.
If you get a place, you should help us so that we do our houses and go and stay.
So how many of you have been affected with the flooding, and how many of you are staying here?
We are 3 houses. The other one is staying at the school there, and we the 2 we are staying here.
I bet na hasa inso krenya bi nyale eduane kura kokko bi no bi koye bi ba edi ya bet na hasa tenre nwumre ye na kwa kura na etwama konso na yira fa kwa ni na yatina hasa ko ko ya ko and the sister I jare ko nyawe ya wa me ma ti ase obi enu ma ko yatina hasa temre ya be ka ha yesu so na ilafa e ka se kwai no nim yes sra bai ne so mo me ye kwane mai se dc yo SMP so ye sra ne so me ye mai na ye nya kwan ko ya be ka ha o mo se ka nko na ka ba ya wa hasa
Now, as we said earlier, the Northeast Regional Minister is currently taking an aerial tour of these affected areas. He's traveling with my colleague Elias Utanko. The images you see on your screen currently are the devastated farmlands, and the brown areas there actually represent the flood waters, which have completely covered the terrain, as you can see there. These tracts of land were homes, they were farmlands, they represent people's livelihoods, and currently they have been devastated by these flood waters. Right, let's move to other stories. We'll get more updates in later bulletins. Now, the National Democratic Congress's free primary healthcare policy will be funded by oil revenue, among other sources of funding. This was revealed by former Chief Executive for the National Health Insurance Authority, Sylvester Edmenta, who is a spokesperson on health for the NDC's manifesto team. The proposed policy is the NDC's flagship promise in the health sector, dubbed in the manifesto, dubbed Jobs and Progress for All, the People's Manifesto. He was speaking to me on Prime Morning on Joy Prime Television, where Mr. Edmonds has spelled out how this will be funded.
The idea is one, introduce additional funding into the health insurance scheme, and we have spoken about one, reviewing the health insurance, not reviewing but ensuring that we enforce the Health Insurance Act 852 of 2012 to ensure that the Ministry of Finance pays all the NHI levy collected into the health insurance fund within 1 month of collection, so that these funds, so the tendency of applying these funds for other purposes is completely eradicated. Again, we are also saying that we are going to ensure that the issue of capping and the realignment of health insurance funds will be completely eliminated. So all funds accruing under the health insurance levy would be given to the health insurance scheme. But in addition to that, we're also saying in our policy that we're going to exclude the health insurance levy from all VAT exemptions. As we speak today, whether it is the NHIL or the GET fund levy, everything is included in the VAT, and when there is an exemption, everything is exempted. We are saying that going forward, under an NDC government, God willing, in January next year, we are going to exempt the NHI levy from all exemptions. That is to say that when there's a VAT exemption, it will not include the NHI levy. That would also help in raking in additional funding for the health insurance scheme. We're also talking about assigning a percentage of our oil revenue to the health insurance scheme, and also legislate and assign a percentage of motor insurance premium, as well as vehicle licensing fee to all support the health insurance scheme. And so, well, to support health financing generally.
When the current administration increased the ABFA contribution to education because of free SHS, they were accused of using the ABFA funding for non-capital expenditure. And the NHIA is also not capital expenditure. The oil revenue was supposed to be invested in capital expenditure for infrastructure for the future. If you're using it on NHIA, aren't you doing exactly what was criticized by?
Well, I mean, using that for the healthcare of your people, using that to address an emotive issue, a very emotional issue of life and death, I guess it's a little different from using it for any other thing. We think that the health of our people is so critical.
That was the argument the NPP raised, that the education of the citizenry was also critical. And
well, if you don't have life, you cannot even enjoy any level of education. Life is primary. Life is critical. Life is an emotive issue, and I guess that there's no better way to spend our oil resources among all Ghanaians, all citizens, than to apply it on their health.
He also assured Ghanaians this promise will not suffer the fate of the NHIA one-time premium promise, which did not see the light of day.
AC promised a one-time premium payment. Stakeholders disagreed with the policy implementation and advised the government to put it on the back burner. I guess you were at that forum where health insurance discussed the one-time premium with stakeholders, both internal and external stakeholders, and stakeholders advised that government should step down on the implementation of that policy.
Made a commitment to the people of Ghana in a social contract.
And before then, there has been a policy directive from cabinet to the health insurance scheme and the ministry to implement one-time premium. It was around the same time that we had a stakeholder meeting to discuss the implementation of the one-time premium. And stakeholders advanced reasons why they think that the policy must be put on hold. And government received a copy of the recommendations of the stakeholder meeting, and on the basis of that, put aside the one-time premium.
But that's so it is not variance to the commitment you made to the people of Ghana.
Of course, if you make a commitment to the people, and the people come back to you and say that don't do this. Mind you, what we have now is a people's manifesto. It's a manifesto that we have generated from the people, from farmers, from fishermen. We have consulted with drivers, we have consulted with everyone, and we have a people's manifesto that truly represents the aspirations of the people of this country. It tells exactly what Ghanaians want to see in this country in the next 4 years. We have learned from the way we developed our previous manifesto, where we assemble knowledgeable people, experts in the field, sit down and think for the country. Of course, one-time premium might have come out as a product of that process. The current process is going to the people and coming out with the People's Manifesto. And so if we had come out with a policy, and the very stakeholders who we expect to benefit from this policy are saying that put it aside, you will say that, oh, because you won an election on the basis of a number of policies, that single policy inclusive, you are going to implement it at all costs. No, I don't think that that is the kind of democracy we are talking about.
Now, President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, as part of his two-day working visit to the Bono East region, will be inspecting the ongoing construction of a regional coordinating council in Techiman, a Zoomlion waste processing plant, as well as inaugurate the Bono East Regional House of Chiefs. Correspondent Anas Sabit has been following the team and joins us now via Zoom. Anas, where has the president visited so far in this trip? Right, Anas, if you can hear me, we want to know which stops the president has made so far in this trip to the Bono East region. Right, we'll go back to Anas Sabit shortly and get those updates from the Bono East region. Of course, the president is currently on a tour of that part of the country. The shots you can see in your screen there are residents of the Bono East region eagerly waiting for the president to meet them and greet them. This is the House of Chiefs. I believe the president is scheduled to speak to the Regional House of Chiefs and inaugurate that building, inaugurates that organization for them. Anas has joined us via telephone. Anas, how many stops has the president made so far on his trip?
So far, he has been to the traditional council, where he paid the courtesy call on the traditional council, led by the assistant chief. From there, he is currently on radio, having a radio station with some radio stations in the area. From this place, he's heading towards Chebodom, where he'll be catching a start for the construction of Chebodom Town Road before he moves for a brief inspection of the ongoing construction of the Regional Coordination Council on the Nfanza Road. From there, he will continue to Nfanza, where he will be also catching a start for the construction of the Nfanza District Hospital, and then also waste management processing plant, Zoomline waste processing plant that is also expected to be.
What has he been telling the people, Anas? What has he been telling the people?
In fact, what he's been telling them is he's here to visit them on a working tour. He's also here to speak for their mandate to represent them for another 4 years, and he's optimistic that once the Bono East area has given a region, the people here will be thanking him on December 7 for another term to continue with his good work.
Thank you very much, Anas Sabit.
Interesting, isn't it? Well, let's do some football now. And former Ghana international Michael Essien has landed his first coaching role after being appointed as part of FC North Zealand's coaching staff for the 2020-2021 season. There's more in the following report.
The ex-Chelsea player earned his coaching badges by studying the working environment around FC North Zealand's first team and academies. Essien now officially joins the coaching staff of the Danish club with the title player coach. The 37-year-old will work hand-in-hand with head coach Flemming Pedersen. In an assistant role, Michael Essien will participate in the sessions alongside the players to help implement the drills and ideas in the best possible way, as well as contribute with new input to coach group evaluations of the training session afterwards. Essien took to Twitter to express his delight. He wrote on his page, and I quote, "I'm delighted to have joined FC North Zealand coaching staff as part of my development towards my full coaching license. I'll also be assisting the players on and off the pitch as part of my role." Michael Essien will have his first day in Faroum on September 10.
All right, so the Ghana FA has begun the process of implementing the video assistant referee VAR technology in domestic competitions, according to referees manager Alex Cote. Now, Mr. Cote revealed that it's mandatory for member associations of FIFA to apply VAR by 2023.
The football governing body has taken steps to ensure the structures for VAR is available, as it is a requirement from FIFA for all member associations to use VAR by 2023. Referees manager of the GFA, Mr. Alex Cote, says despite the challenges the FA is facing, it must be applied as it is in line with club licensing regulations.
VAR is coming to Ghana. VAR will come to Ghana. You know, CAF and FIFA organized an online course for selected instructors in Africa. In fact, we were about 68, two from Ghana, Emanuela Aglago, and then myself. FIFA is saying that the next 3 years, VAR must go to all member associations. And so member associations must begin to accept this concept and let it become part of our football. So in the project planning, there are a lot of requirements that FIFA would demand from us. It is just in line with the club licensing, and so there's nothing much to fear.
Questions have often been raised about the quality of refereeing in domestic competitions. Cote, who officiated at the 2008 African Cup of Nations when the tournament was staged in Ghana, believes that when there is commitment, it will be a success.
After the project planning, there is another requirement where you now have to engage the various stakeholders. And who are the stakeholders? We are talking about the referees. They are the main architects of this program, the VAR. FIFA is ready to support. The only thing the member association needs to do is to show commitment and the willingness to accept the VAR into our football. And when that is done, FIFA and CAF will give you all the necessary support that you actually need. Though we are going to bring VAR, we also need to work on our referees. We just want everybody to catch the euphoria that VAR will soon come to Ghana with the support of the Ghana Football Association, FIFA and CAF.
The GFA recently acquired gadgets to improve refereeing for their competitions.
All right, so that's it for sports for now. There's a bigger dose at 2 p.m. when I bring you sports today. World News continues with us here on the show. Of course, JoyNews today continues. My name is Nathaniel Atto, and I have love for sport.